evening. I am so excited to have you all on this episode of the Pulpit View. We are live tonight. I apologize that I am coming on late, but tonight was the night. Tonight was a big night. I officially have moved out of the barbershop, and I am excited, yet so afraid. Wanted to come on with you all tonight to kind of share the leap journey. I was asked today as I was packing up my last bit of stuff, Stephen, how did you make such a decision? One of my customers came in. He said, "Man, Stephen, how long have you been here?" He said, "I almost feel like you've cut me all my life." He is 21. I said, What's amazing is I gave you your first haircut. Um, it is amazing to see the journey that I had been on. And tonight, as we are examining this episode of the Pulpit View, kind of want to talk about taking the leap. Taking the leap. What is it? What does it take to step out into the next thing? What does it take to really trust God in that unknown area? And I probably have never talked about this. So it was 2002 when I came to Tuskegee, Alabama, and I remember having this conversation with my mother about coming into college, stepping away from family, knowing that the journey was unknown, knowing that the destiny was not sure yet. And I remember when I came onto that campus, knowing there was something special about this move, not knowing that I would be here for over 20 years now, going on 20 years now. And I today made a decision that was scary. And I don't know about you, as a leader, it is probably the hardest thing to make change. In fact, I would tell you that as a leader, it is more challenging for us to shift than it is for the people that we lead to shift. Here it is, because when we find out something works and it works well, usually we want to stick to the formula. It is almost just like baking a cake. You could not tell your grandmother that she should try a different type of flour for her famous pound cake. It's impossible. Here's the reason why. Everyone loves that pound cake. Everyone knows that pound cake is the best thing smoking. And she's always used the same ingredients. A touch of this, a hint of this, a pound of this. And it is unique for us because the truth of the matter is we are so used to once we find a formula, sticking to it, once we've been identified as something, being that person, that change seems scary. And I want to help somebody tonight as we're dealing with this podcast episode that God sometimes calls us to take a leap. He calls us to take a leap in business, calls us to take a leap in ministry, calls us to take a leap in marriage. The struggle is most of us, we have become comfortable. We've become comfortable. People know us for one thing. In fact, today as I was cutting one client, and I said, "Man, today is my last day as this will be my last haircut with you." He said, "Stephen, I know. I saw the post yesterday and I was in disbelief." He said, I could not believe." He said, "And here it is. Apparently I made it went a little viral on in the Tuskegee student group." And he said, "Man, we've been sharing it all day." He said, "People are like, is he playing? Is he telling a joke?" He said, "There's some folk mad." He said, "I'm going to be honest with you. There's some folk mad because they want their haircuts. He was like, they don't even know how you couldn't have told them. I said, I put it on Facebook. He said, but for them, your barbershop was their secure place. And I want to ask you tonight, have you ever gotten to a place where people were so secure with you that you changing your walk, you changing your direction was just as scary for them as it is for you? Is it that somebody has coined you into being somebody to such a degree that it almost seems impossible for you to be anybody else? In fact, I'm going to tell you, there are several times in this journey that I have questioned about stepping away from the barbershop. It's amazing because Saturday, as I was cutting hair, I had a young lady come to the barbershop, and she said, Stephen, you couldn't give me 2 more years. She said, just 2 more. And she blessed my heart. She said, you have been a place that I knew I could drop my sons off. There wasn't going to be nothing that brought them back worse, but more than likely they'd come back better than I dropped them off. He said, rather it be waiting in the car, them coming on their own now. He said, we've been through stages, Stephen. You couldn't give me 2 more years, just 2 more years. And I started to think about the honor that becoming some people's safety zone, that place where they were comfortable, that place where they knew me. Do you remember the show? Do you remember the show Cheers? It says, I want to go where everybody knows your name, my name. All the faces are still the same. It's a place where there's a comfort, there's a peace. And the truth of the matter is, that is usually the time that God is calling for you to go to some other height. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm really going to be honest with you. As I was cutting today, as I've been cutting throughout this week, I'm saying, Lord, what do I do? So today, I'm about to tell y'all what happened today. And I'm not going to hold y'all long tonight, but I wanted to make sure that I stayed consistent because today I've been in the shop clearing it out all day. Here it is. Today, as I was picking up the U-Haul, I was second guessing some things. I said, God, I don't want to just leave and close another business in Tuskegee. And I'm saying, Lord, there has to be a way around this. There has to be something else for this. I'm talking about as I'm picking up the U-Haul, but I know this is what God is telling me to do. I believe God is shifting something, and I know I have to follow. Here's what happens. I see a post that I put on. They're tallying me up, doing everything, and I open my phone up. And in my Facebook, the memories come up to a 4-year-old post. That 4-year-old post says, the true measure of maturity is when you're willing to step down because you can no longer do the task and someone else can do it better. Doesn't mean that it invalidates you. Doesn't mean that it brings you down. It means that you know that you have matured, you have grown, when you can recognize when your season is up. I'm trying to help somebody tonight. You know when you have made it to a place of understanding and God can bless you with more when you're not trying to hold on to a season that no longer is fit for you. Sometimes we are holding ourselves back by allowing people to put us in a box that God has not desired us to be. And I want to challenge you, whatever those things that you might be holding on to, those things that you have said, I'm afraid to let go because my identity is in it. See, my identity has been in cutting hair. Everyone knew me for this. These hands have been a blessing to my family. And many of us, we've placed so much of our identity in who we are that we're afraid to become somebody else. Today, just this past week, I had the pleasure of sitting around senior saints, sage in wisdom preachers, the president emeritus of the National Baptist and the state. He has served Dr. Scruggs. I was able to ask him questions. Our current president of the Southeast, our current president of the state of Alabama National Baptist, state of Alabama Convention, Baptist Convention, Dr. Melvin Owens. I got around the mind of Dr. Frank Kennedy. I'm talking about phenomenal men of God. And there was a question that arose. What is it, or why is it that so many preachers will pastor until they get ready to die? And I'm rephrasing the question, but that was the sum of the question. Why will they not move or do succession? Can I tell you something? Some people, and Dr. Julius Scruggs said something so phenomenal. He said some people, identity is in preaching. We've been taught that that is a calling, and pastoring rather. That pastoring is a calling, and I'm not supposed to walk away from it. I'm supposed to die in it. I want to tell you tonight, you have the ability. God is unchanging, but he gives you the ability to change. I'll say it again. God is unchanging, but he gives you the ability to change. You do not have to be confined to what others think you are, what you believe you are. And you can go and move beyond that. Man, listen, this is a step of faith that I'm doing. I actually want to pose this, what's next? Because that was the conversation that was being had all day today. Stephen, what's next? What's next? Are you doing this? What's next? What you're going to do over here? What's next? Are you moving your shop to Montgomery? What's next? Are you stepping away completely, or are you going to do some stuff half-time? What's next? And here's what I told him. I said, I don't know. I'm taking each day at a time. I am becoming someone new. I am challenging myself to step into a new sphere. I am redefining who Stephen Garrett is. I'm allowing myself to grow as a pastor. And I'm going to see the fulfillment of if I give it my all. I'm growing myself as a theologian. And I am diving back into school and finding out, can this mind be expanded even further? I am challenging myself to find out who I really am. I've been this person for so long. I've been Little T. My nickname growing up was by my big brother. Everyone, if you see me, I might be a little bigger than him now, I think. But I know I'm slightly a little taller. But everyone, when they would see me, they would say, there goes Little T. Why? Because they could not see my face beyond my brothers. They if they saw me, they would see Lil T. To this day, people have seen me that have never met me, but they knew my brother and said, you must be Terrence Garrett's brother. It's amazing. I have people still today who call me Little G. Little G was my dad's nickname for me. I'm telling you, they would see us and they say, Garrett, you spit him out yourself. His mama didn't have nothing to do with him. The reality is, for some, my identity couldn't go beyond that. I want to help you because I've been asking God myself this whole time in prayer. Lord, why are you calling me to step away? Why are you calling me to go into this other sphere and go into this level? I don't know if I told you all the story but I believe I can be transparent with you all. It was January that this stuff started. January that this decision started to formulate. Me and my wife were talking. I wasn't ready to make the move. In fact, I told the Lord this. I said, Lord, I don't believe you would ask me to step away from this barbershop with having employees under my charge and to leave them high and dry. Go into February, one of my employees who was supposed to be there with me for a year and a half, he had already told me he'd be moving at some point, but he said he'd be there with me for about a year and a half. And I accepted that. Good and great employee. He said, Stephen, can I talk to you? And I said, sure, man. He said, I'll be moving next month to Tennessee with my girlfriend. I said, man, I thought you were going to be here for some time. He said, I know, but I think, lest they're watching, I won't say everything he said, but he said it's important that he moves. And so I said, okay, I see what you're doing there, Lord. But I still have one young man by the name of Matthew. I'm telling the Lord, I'm like, I'm really using this as my trump card. I'm like, I can't leave. Young man, he's making good money here. Can't leave him high and dry. Can't ask him to step away from the shop or ask him to go back into it. God, you've given me this responsibility. He's under my charge. Lord, I'm not about to leave. Here comes April. April comes before my pastor passed. And he comes to me and he says, Stephen, I need to talk to you. I'm already thinking it's something not good, but I don't know what it is. He says, Stephen, we're in the shop cutting hair. It's at the end of the night. He says, next week will be my last week. I said, hold on, wait. What's going on? I said, booth rent's good. You're making great money. What's going on? He said, man, listen, I have to make a decision who I want to be. And the shop is getting in the way of it. I said, okay. I see what you're doing, God. I see what you're doing. So I have a conversation with that young man that night that changed my life. And these are his words to me. He says, Stephen, I'm going to tell you something. I've had a few customers that come in and they've told me they schedule their cuts around the time that you're in the shop because of what you pour out into it. He says, Stephen, you've poured out into a lot of people. And at some point, you should place that same type of value and trust in what God wants you to do. I'm listening to the Lord. I'm like, my God. Now, here's the reality, everyone. I still am not settled. I'm still not settled with leaving. I am wrestling with it. Here comes June. I finally start telling people that I'm stepping away. July comes, and the Lord challenges me again. I realized I had not told my landlord. Why? Because my heart did not want to leave. And I'm going to tell you what happened that finalized this thing. The reason that I gave you all that post. One day I was driving, and I could literally see doors that were closed. And when I start wondering why those doors were closed, he said, because you were unwilling to close one door in your life. And because you were unwilling to let that door close, I can't let you see what's behind these other doors. I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you as a pastor, as a leader, not to let something you're holding on to keep you from who God wants you to become. Not to let some pain that you decided that was going to be so hard, you wasn't going to venture and do this again, to keep you from becoming who you want to become, who God wants you to become. Not to let what others feel you are in their life hinder you from becoming who God wants you to become. Not to allow what you think about yourself. I can't tell you the times I have second guessed myself as a leader. I've had some heavy days in that barbershop. In fact, the culmination of the barbershop for me came with turmoil. I won't get into it because I've moved beyond it, and I'm grateful for the people that led me to the place that I could be an owner here in the state of Alabama. But the truth of the matter is, there were people lying on me when I started the barbershop. And I already doubted myself that I could start fresh and new. My first barbershop, my father helped me. My father helped me. I had one in Detroit. First barbershop, my father helped me. My little brother ran it while I was in school. He was making sure it was going. To have all the weight on me, I did not think I could do it. In fact, I believed I couldn't do it. But I had some folk on this side that were encouraging, that pushed me to believe beyond what I believed in myself. There were times where financially I didn't see how it was going to happen. And somehow, some way, we pushed beyond that. There were times that the door should have closed because I'm managing pastoring, school, and all of it. And I'm at the shop. I remember when I went back for my degree, y'all, here was my day when I went back for my degree. I would wake up at 6 in the morning to head to Selma to go take classes. I would come back at 10 o'clock at night, and I would head to the shop for late night cuts. I do that 4 days out the week. Y'all. And on the fifth day, Friday and Saturday, I'd be in from 7 to 11 at night, trying to get all of my customers in. I'm telling y'all, and I did not believe I could do it. I did not believe. I still don't even know how, with just having fresh new twins, how me and my wife did it. I can't tell. In fact, I know how. It was nothing but the grace of God. But somehow, I found out that I could become a little bit more than I thought I was. I'll tell y'all the truth. Since we're honest on the pulpit view, most pastors doubt their self and are harder on their self than most members. Most leaders are harder on their self than the people they're leading, especially if you have a heart for leadership. If you have a heart for leadership, you're always challenging yourself on who you're becoming. You're always looking at how you can do it better. You're always critical of your moves. I was critical of every single move. I remember when I had to lose to a few good barbers. They could cut, but the spirit they had wasn't the best for my shop. And I had to question myself because they could cut, but I didn't know if I could trust my shop with them when I wasn't there. And my formation, the formation of that shop was to be somewhere where a mom could drop her son off and know that that child would be cared for. Formation of that shop was for a young freshman college student to be able to sit down and make sure that he heard something good. One of the biggest blessings, I'm going to tell y'all this, one of the biggest blessings I ever received at the barbershop happened in 2019. 2019 of May, a young man comes into my barbershop. I'll just call him Q. He's been coming to me all 4 years. I did not know he was graduating. Man, I'm going to tell you. This young man sits in my chair. I finished cutting his hair. And I was having a rough day that day. And so he gets up. He said, Mr. Garrett, I sent you. First of all, it always made me feel strange hearing people call me Mr. G or Mr. Garrett, because that was my dad, right? He said, man, I'm going to send it to you on Cash App. He sent it to me on Cash App. Man, this young man sent me $100. I called him. I said, man, what did you see? What? Hold on. What you send me $100 for? Now, mind you, he's always paying $25. Always paying $25. I said, what do you send me $100 for? He said, Mr. Garrett, you do not know the impact you made while I was in school. And that's a thank you I got to tell y'all, there's no bigger blessing than to see a freshman come through and they remind me of myself. Very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very fresh and just un, 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 untested by the world yet, right? They're here with a fresh mind, a fresh heart, and they get punched in the mouth by life. And then they got to sit in my chair. And my thought was this when I started that barbershop. This is my thought when I get to have people come and visit the church. Here it is. If I can get you for a minute, I can put something inside of you. I can speak something over you. I can bless you in some way that is going to encourage you for the journey. Listen, I need you to know that you are bigger than where you think you are. And here's the challenge of God. Here's the challenge of God, y'all. Here's the challenge of God. Whenever you think you've made it to a place that you understand yourself, God challenges you by widening your scope. Told the young man today, and this is where I'll be ending it tonight. Told the young man today, he told me, he said, Stevie, you're going to be in my book. He told me he reminded me of the story when he first started coming to my barbershop and he wanted to start a business. And he said, Stephen, he said, I remember when I asked you if I could clean your shop. He said, and I was like, first one's free. He said, I remember I cleaned it and you paid me anyhow. He said, you never tried to stiff me on money. You always was upfront. You always gave me an opportunity, pushed me for other opportunities, all this stuff. I said, here it is. I said, because I want you to widen your scope. I want to treat you a certain way so you learn to widen your scope. Can I tell you something tonight as we depart tonight? And I'm just really doing my soapbox tonight. God wants to widen your scope. You see yourself as one way, and God sees you so bigger than that, so much bigger than that. He sees your potential. He sees your capabilities. And as a leader, if you're going to be a great leader, if you're going to learn how to balance work and life, you're going to have to learn to widen your scope and to recognize that you're capable of handling more than you think you can. You're capable of bearing more than you think you can bear. In fact, what I find out, I messed up my foot a few weeks ago and it was down for about 3 weeks. And I had not worked out because reality is I could barely even stand on it for too long. And I would have to put my weight on the other foot. So at least for the first week. And so I was literally putting my weight and trying to cut hair. And I was only able to cut hair for a few hours. So I had to just take a break. Can I tell you what messed me up though, right? My trainer, shout out to Quinn, Coach Q. He said something. He said, most times there's a lot of workouts you can do, man, that don't require you to put your weight on your foot. He said, but what will happen is you'll lose capacity because you don't do anything. And you stay stagnant. Can I tell you something? Many of us as leaders have lost capacity. We've lost ability because we've been hurt, we've been broken, or we have confined ourselves to what we cannot do. And so we don't do anything. I pray for you tonight that you would widen your scope, that you would allow God to let you leap. Here's the beauty about leaping. You do not find out the parachute works until you jump. Can I tell you that? You do not find out the parachute works until you jump. I've developed a new definition of faith. Faith is believing that what God gave you was a parachute and you jump anyway. Faith is jumping and believing that what God gave you was a parachute. Does not mean you won't fall, but it does mean he'll take you down easy. Listen, I hope I thank you for joining me tonight. Mind you, I'm sorry that I was late tonight. Just getting back. My wonderful family, they celebrated me as I came in with my little crew retirement party. My kids holding up banners and my wife holding up balloons. Good meal. And so I was on late tonight. But I want to say thank you. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. I still believe eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. Neither has it entered the hearts of man. All that God has planned for us. I want you to join me next week. Next week, I plan on having a phenomenal brother, Reverend Terrence L. Scott, Dr. Terrence L. Scott, good friend of mine. I want you to join me next week, Monday at 8:30 on the Pulpit View, where you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. And you can find us if you're in our community, the Pulpit View, in the YouTube private group. If you are a pastor and you are committed, please go and look up Pulpit View and come on and join the group. If you have not followed us on Facebook or Instagram yet, or even YouTube, please make sure you like and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube this video, make sure that you follow us, and we hope and pray that God gives you the courage to leap. I pray that you jump, and I believe that if you jump, you'll find out that what God gave you was a parachute. Shoot, for some of us, he gave us some jetpacks. Just wait and see. Love y'all. Have a phenomenal night. Thank you for joining me tonight. Till we see each other again, this has been the Pulpit View. My name is Stephen Garrett, and we're grateful to have you.